we are in relationship with the planet. We're in relationship with the trees and the stars and each other. Like,
Thank you both so much for the time to chat. I'm here with Kiera Jang and Ann Marie Fleming, the director and the star of Can I Get a Witness? Thank you so much for the time. I really, truly appreciate it.
oh, thanks for inviting us.
Mhm.
Well, this is such a wonderful film. It truly is. It is uh, sad and joyful mixed together. There's a poignancy to it. Anne Marie, where did the film come from?
Mm. I'm in Vancouver. I used to live in the West End, and as far back as 2006, there was a big windstorm and 10,000 trees were blown down in Stanley Park overnight. There were king tides that were taking down the seawall. There's earthquake drills. I moved out of the city. I moved out of the city because I had general climate anxiety. And also, fast forward a couple more years, and Canadian government was talking about moving CPP up from 65 to 67. And I thought, interesting. We've got all of this like anxiety now about aging, death, what's going to happen in the future, climate, what's going to happen. And I took a nod from Jonathan Swift, who's this Irish British writer, well, activist, I guess, really, who for the Great Famine, the potato blight in Ireland, he suggested that the Irish, he wrote this thing called A Modest Proposal. Why don't the Irish just eat their babies? It could, you know, deal with the population situation and great for protein. And of course, this is totally farcical and a provocation. People got very angry. And but the conversation happened, laws were changed. And it drew attention to predatory landowner, um, uh, issues, blah blah blah. So I thought I'll do that, and so I came up with this ridiculous, at the time, ridiculous idea that we would turn back technology and everybody would die at 50, and then life could be beautiful. And then COVID happened, um, climate climate and extreme weather events all over the world were affecting everybody at the same time. Conversation about what were not willing to do for each other became kitchen table conversation. Made, which is now legal in Canada, wasn't even mentioned when I thought about this film. It is still a big conversation in countries all over the world. Do we, don't we? And so suddenly, all of the issues that I was talking about in a fantastical way uh, became kind of more real, like people were thinking about this stuff and they were yeah, seeing this in a very different light. And so the tone of this changed quite a bit while I was making it.
Well, I'm so glad you referenced Jonathan Swift because I remember I read that for the first time in university and they didn't tell me anything.
Mhm.
So I'm reading this play or this essay, I should say, and I admit at the time I was a little bored, and then all of a sudden he started talking about eating the children, and I actually had to go back and reread it. I'm like, wait a minute here.
How did we get here?
How do we? Yeah, I must have missed something. But it's that level of satire which comes into this film, but at the same time, it's very much a film that wants to ask these incredible questions. As you said, coming out of these life events. Kira, for you, when you read the script, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, when I first read it, I just thought, I'm so glad that this is a movie that's being made. It's climate is something that my generation has always talked about. I remember in third grade doing a presentation on climate change, and I went down this huge spiral of, oh my God, the polar bears aren't going to have a home anymore. And then since then, it's just been something that has been so normalized that we've got to do something. And so I think there's this pent-up frustration for a lot of people that this film deals with in such a gentle way that when I first read the script, I was just shocked at how human these incredible circumstances are.
Well, you mentioned your generation, and I had to ask that about this film because this film in particular is touching on basically like the meaning of our lives. And I would ask you, as someone who's younger, do you think that the nature of what we believe and our purpose for life has shifted? Because in this, you hear your character saying these things like, I don't even know if I want kids because what's the point in bringing them in? And I think coming out of all these things that Anne Marie has said, um, it seems like the way we view the world has changed so much.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a conversation that I've had with my own friends. Do we want to bring kids into this world that we've just been given? That's something that I've talked about with my grandparents, with my parents, and they they can't really relate to the world that I grew up in because the climate wasn't this huge thing. There wasn't always this impending doom where that's all I've ever known, you know? So it's definitely a conversation that is day to day. I have with people that I know, and I have with people who are of different generations, and we kind of compare and contrast our upbringings and, people older will sometimes tell me, oh, you don't have to worry about that stuff. When I was younger, we just wanted to focus on having a family, getting our career settled. And, I think about that too. But I also think about, okay, but if the climate goes completely to nothing, do I want to bring more another generation into this world? So yeah, it definitely deals with a lot of that and it brings forward a lot of what people my age have always been thinking.
Absolutely. Like that's what I mean. There's a charm and a humor and a sadness in this film, but these are big questions. And I would ask for you both. I would ask you both, and you don't have to answer this, I guess, but how much time is enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, right? That's the log line. So, um, that's the log line. How much time is enough? I was reading a little bit of Marcus Aurelius yesterday, his meditations, as I tend to do. And
Yeah.
I just opened to the page, and one of the things he said was whether you have a long life or an untimely death, it's the same thing. It comes to the same thing. And so I think can I get a witness besides being a climate action, I think, and having a space for people to have multiple conversations. It also, when I see it, I go, oh my God, it's it's also asking us to take a look at this beautiful world we have and how important life is, and important our connections to each other are.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much of this film, I think there's a celebration of life to it and of our planet. I think the young man, I forget his name, that's with you,
Daniel. Daniel.
Daniel. I think it's a type of violence to the planet to stay. At one point. Um, but so much power here and tension comes in relationships, as we see in this film. And I was wondering in your minds what the power of relationships are in these in life, really.
Oh, you take that one, Kira.
Gosh. Well, I think throughout this film, it definitely shows your relationship both with the people you surround yourself with, but your relationship with Earth itself, when you think about the mortality of it all, you want to really just live in these small little moments and enjoy. It makes you think about enjoying more time and doing what you really want to do, and then more time outside, just enjoying the world that we're in. So I think definitely feeling more precious about it all.
But we are in relationship. I know this sounds woo-woo, but we are in relationship with the planet. We're in relationship with the trees and the stars and each other. Like we are part of the same thing. Like we all come from the same thing. And it's um, there's so many moments in the film like that. There's so many quiet moments that are not they're not with other people, but they're moments that all people enjoy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's interesting too because you talk about a relationship with the planet. This is a film that starts talking about technology at one point and how we put a value on it too highly. That here it turns around on us, but we've lost sight of what matters around us, and I think that's really beautiful. What inspired the animation style? Because I love that aspect to it. The way that art connects with life.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always been the purpose of art to show us who we are and to record life and our passing cultures. And of course, here is this witness who, because there's no technology, she draws end-of-life ceremonies. And because we live in this world where emotions have to be repressed to be able to do what we need to do, that her underlying feelings would be shown in the animation. Of course, it turns out that it's such an emotional world that we don't have to do that too much. But also the style of animation is Prashant Miranda is an artist who did the illustrations, and he actually runs the Tidal Art Center up in Lund, which is not too far from Powell River where we shot the film. And he's from India, and he does travel the world just recording life. And we tried to come to Kiah style. Who is she? She's this teenager. What development is she? It's what kind of style would she have? And with the animation also, like, what are her feels? Like we tried to keep it as it's part of her character. So we tried to keep it as, just like another layer of her.
Well, like I said, it connects things so well, and it feels like an opportunity to express herself and try and work out these feelings as she's seeing these things that she's never been exposed to. It's pretty incredible. Um, I know we're running out of time, but honestly, for you both, what is it that you hope we take away from, or audiences take away from Can I Get a Witness?
I just hope it starts a conversation, you know? I think it's definitely, I hope people can reflect in their own lives and think of small things or big things or whatever that they would sacrifice for the greater good and just treat other people with the utmost kindness that you can.
Yeah, and that it's not hopeless. Like
Yeah.
every moment we're here is a moment where we can appreciate where we are and each other, and um, that's that's the beginning. That's the beginning. So, and also on a slightly more political note, I hope that this has a I hope that this can affect some personal change, because that's all we are. We are billions of individuals, and what we do together makes a difference.
I appreciate that so much, honestly. Anne Marie and Kira, thank you so much for your time. The film is absolutely beautiful. I genuinely loved it, and I'm so thankful for the time to chat with you today. Thank you so much.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.